30% of email addresses go bad every year. What can you do about it? Listen to this episode.
Welcome to the Everything Email Podcast with Ken Countess. Ken is a world-renowned email marketing expert. He'll help you 10x your business with email strategies that generate more sales. And now, here's Ken Countess.
This is episode 58 of the Everything Email Podcast. Welcome, I'm Ken Countess, your host. I'm so delighted you're here. Let's jump right into it. Did you know that 30% of email addresses go bad every year? That sounds crazy, doesn't it? The number sounds pretty high because it is. So why does this happen? Well, of course, during the pandemic, a lot of companies folded, went under, merged. So for someone with a business email address that was impacted by a company change, the domain has changed. The email address has changed. So while it may have been a valid email address before, it isn't anymore. How about the rest of us? How about the consumer email addresses that are going bad? You might wonder, 30% sounds a little bit high there too. But what's happened is this. People have found other email domains. They may be switching from AOL.com or Yahoo.com to Gmail.com, for example, or maybe something else. Then there are other people who just totally ignore their old email addresses and they jump to the new ones. So one of the challenges, of course, is always to try to stay up to date and make sure that your email list stays up to date. So how do you do that? I'm sure by now you've heard of QR codes. We are inundated with them, but believe it or not, for those of us who are in North America, QR code adoption is among the lowest percentages in the world. QR codes have been available in Asia for, 30 years. I used to travel to Singapore and China and Japan way back before the year 2000, and QR codes were very popular then. They've also been very popular in Europe for a very long time. In North America, not quite so much. Now, as it turns out, one of the best ways you have to grow your mailing list is using QR codes. And you may be thinking, gosh, that's too techy for me. I have no idea what to do. The good news is that there are many ways for you to quickly and easily learn how to do QR codes and use them. Among the easiest ways to create a QR code is using Canva, C-A-N-V-A. I've talked about Canva from time to time on this podcast. You can take any URL you want and convert it to a QR code, plant that QR code on a business card, on a flyer, in your store window, even in your online campaigns. And so let's talk about how you might use a QR code to grow your mailing list. So QR codes are the next iteration of technology, if you will. About 81% of small and medium-sized businesses depend on email marketing as their main channel to grow their business, rightfully so. With a 36-to-1 ROI, return on investment, why wouldn't you use email marketing? Far and away, it's the best tool there is. But to grow with email marketing, you need a growing list and then some ideas on how to grow. Did you know that you can use QR codes to grow your list? This could be one of the best and most effective tactics for continual email list growth. Over 500 companies globally, including Nike, Puma, Emirates Air, Nestle, they're all using QR codes. They use these codes for marketing to reach more potential users. The thing about QR codes, this is kind of interesting. QR codes have been around for decades, but they haven't been very popular at all here in North America. They've been used for years and years and years in East Asia. They've been used for many years in other parts of the world, but for some reason the adoption in North America has been very slow. So if you're using QR codes in North America, you're on the leading edge. I use QR codes, for instance, on my business card. I have QR codes on the back of my business card in different colors. And this way it signifies that they have different purposes. One is to join my mailing list, and one is to sign up to attend events. Other companies like Starbucks, they're using QR codes now in print media to boost sales. So there are lots of ways that you can use QR codes. I strongly recommend that you use them to start growing your mailing list. Customers prefer QR codes because they're easy to use. Let me give you just a couple of top ways to grow your email list with QR codes before we go. You can use them for print ads and posters. You can use them for handout materials when you're out and about. I mentioned business cards. You can have QR codes on the swag for your business. And if you go to trade shows or Chamber of Commerce events and you have a pull-up banner or any sort of signage, put a QR code there, get people to join your list. That's it for this time around. I hope that you will take advantage of this opportunity to grow your list. With 30% of email addresses going bad every year, you need to continually grow your list. If you need more help with this, go to my website. It's kenisemail.com. That's where you can find a variety of resources, including a way to schedule a free call with me. Hey, thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, whether you're listening to it on Apple or Stitcher or Spotify or Google, or maybe you're watching on YouTube. Regardless of where you're finding the Everything Email podcast presented by kenisemail.com, be sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Thanks for listening. Hey, we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Everything Email Podcast with Ken Countess. If you like the podcast, tell your friends and coworkers about it. Be sure to visit kenisemail.com to sign up for Ken's mailing list. You'll get great marketing tips every week in your inbox. Have questions? Send Ken an email. It's ken@kenisemail.com. See you next time.